New developments in the deadly mass shooting in Klay County. Daricka Moore faces new and upgraded charges. A judge lays down the hammer, and the families of the victims had to really live this nightmare all over again this afternoon.
Why'd you do it?
7. 3 days ago, a courtroom in Mississippi went dead silent as 24-year-old Daricka Moore stood in shackles, his face blank, emotionless. The charges against him? 6 lives taken in one night. His own father, his own brother, his uncle, a 7-year-old little girl, a pastor, and his brother. But what happened next is what makes your skin crawl. Judge Jim Kitchens looked at this young man, looked at the evidence, and instead of scheduling a trial, he ordered one thing: a mental health evaluation. Not because Moore's lawyers asked for it, not because there was some legal loophole, but because something about this case screamed that what happened on January 9th wasn't just evil, it was something far more disturbing. Hello, Crime Trail family. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here, because today we're diving into a case that's going to make you question everything you think you know about family, about sanity, and about how quickly a normal Friday night can turn into absolute carnage. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button now. Drop a like and comment below, because this story needs to be heard. Share it with someone who follows true crime. Let's get into it. So, who is Daricka Moore? That's the question everyone's asking. And here's the terrifying part. Nobody saw this coming. 24 years old, lives in Cedarbluff, Mississippi, a town so small that everyone knows everyone's business. The kind of place where a speeding ticket is front page news. And yet, Daricka Moore? He was a ghost. No criminal record, not even a parking ticket. No history of violence. No 911 calls. No red flags. When Sheriff Eddie Scott held that press conference on Saturday morning, you could hear the confusion in his voice. This guy wasn't on our radar. This is family members that he went after. Think about that. In a town where everybody knows everybody, this man was invisible. Until he wasn't. Friday night, January 9th, 2026, 5:56 p.m., a 911 call comes screaming through dispatch. Gunshots, multiple victims, Cedarbluff area. Deputies race to 123 David Hill Road expecting maybe a hunting accident, maybe a domestic dispute gone wrong. What they found was a massacre. Inside a mobile home, 3 bodies, 3 men, all shot in the head. Glenn Moore, 67, the father, a fisherman who spent his days on the water, who greeted everyone with a hug. His cousin would later say, "Every time I saw him, he always had a hug and a smile for me and my babies." That smile was gone forever. Quinten Moore, 33, the brother, a man with his whole life ahead of him. Owner of a Ford F-150 pickup truck that was now missing from the scene. Willie Ed Guines, 55, the uncle, the family jokester, the cool uncle everyone wanted at barbecues. His cousin remembered him through tears. His girls and his son and his grandkids, they'll have to do life without him. 3 men executed in their own home. But here's where it gets worse. Deputies realized almost immediately that whoever did this wasn't done. The missing truck. The timeline. The pattern forming. They had no idea how right they were. 3 miles away, 299 Blake Road. A young mother is home with her 3 children. It's just after 7 p.m. she hears someone at the door. Then that door gets kicked in. Daricka Moore, her cousin, forces his way inside. He's driving Quinten's stolen truck. He's armed. And according to investigators, he tries to assault the mother. But that's not why he's there. He turns to the children, Mikylia Guines, 7 years old, 2nd grade. The family called her the dancing queen because that's what she did. She danced, she smiled, she lit up rooms. Mikylia, God, she was an angel on earth, literally, her cousin would say later. Moore pointed a weapon at this little girl's head, and he pulled the trigger. But wait, because this is where it gets even more twisted. After Mikylia fell, Moore walked over to another child, placed the gun against that child's head. The mother is screaming. The 3rd child is watching in horror. And then, nothing. The gun doesn't fire. Did it malfunction? Did Moore change his mind? Did something stop him? Investigators still don't know. 3 witnesses saw everything. A mother who will never unsee what happened to her baby. 2 children who will carry that night for the rest of their lives. Moore walks out, gets back in the stolen F-150, drives away. It's been about 2 hours since the first attack, and he's still not done. 1965 Siloam Griffith Road. The Apostolic Church of the Lord Jesus sits quiet in the darkness. It's a small, white-frame building where some of the Moore family actually attended services. On the church grounds, there's a residence. That's where Reverend Barry Bradley and his brother Samuel spent their weekends. Barry Bradley was a man of God. Literally. He'd helped build that church brick by brick. An archived biography described him as someone who stands on, preaches, and lives according to the Word of God. He split his time between Columbus and this little church, dedicating his life to faith and community. His brother Samuel was right there with him, inseparable, devoted. Moore broke into their residence, and when deputies finally arrived at the scene, they found both brothers dead. Shot in the head, execution style. Behind the house, Quinten's F-150, ditched and hidden. Moore had already stolen another vehicle from the property. He was mobile, still armed, still dangerous. By now, law enforcement knew they had something unprecedented on their hands. One suspect, 3 locations, 4.5 hours of carnage, 6 bodies. Every cop in western Mississippi converged on Cedarbluff. State police, federal marshals, local deputies. Over 100 officers flooding the area, setting up roadblocks, checking every vehicle, every back road. 11:24 p.m., intersection of Pine Grove Road and Joe Myers Road. Officers spot the second stolen vehicle. They pull it over. Daricka Moore is behind the wheel. In the car, a rifle, a handgun, 2 different weapons. And here's a question that's still hanging in the air. Where did he get those guns? Were they legally purchased? Stolen earlier? Borrowed from someone who had no idea what was about to happen? Investigators are still piecing that together because it matters. It matters a lot. Moore didn't fight, didn't run, didn't resist. He just stopped, like someone flipping off a light switch. Pause for a second. What are you thinking right now? Because I need you to drop a comment and tell me, how does this happen? How does someone go from 0 criminal history to 6 bodies in one night? Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we need to talk about what came next.
Why'd you do it?
Sitting.
Residence at 123 David Hill Road in Cedarbluff, Mississippi, Klay County, Mississippi. How does the defendant plead to charge of first-degree murder of Quinten Moore? Not guilty. The state of Mississippi also charges Daricka Moore with first-degree murder that occurred on January 9th, 2026 in Klay County, Mississippi. The affidavit charges that the defendant did feloniously, willfully, and unlawfully with deliberate design to cause to death and did kill Mr. Willie Ed Guines by shooting him in the head while at the residence at 123 David Hill Road in Cedarbluff, Mississippi, Klay County, Mississippi.
Monday morning, January 12th. The courtroom is packed. Family members of the victims, family members of the accused. Yes, you heard that right. Because in this nightmare, they're the same people. Moore is brought in wearing shackles. He pleads not guilty to 11 charges, 3 counts of capital murder, 3 counts of first-degree murder, attempted murder of a child, attempted sexual battery, burglary, theft of a motor vehicle. The prosecutor makes it clear they're upgrading everything to capital murder. District Attorney Scott Colom doesn't mince words. 6 people, 1 night, several different scenes. It's about as bad as it gets. They're seeking the death penalty. But then Judge Kitchens drops the bomb. Before any preliminary hearing, before this case moves 1 inch forward, Daricka Moore is going for a mental health evaluation, not as a defense strategy, as a court order. Because when you look at this case, when you see a man with no history suddenly move through 3 locations methodically, ending lives, including his own family, including a 7-year-old child, something isn't adding up. What are they looking for? Psychosis, schizophrenia that often emerges in the early 20s, a complete break from reality, dissociative episodes, something that explains the unexplainable. And here's what's haunting about this. Sheriff Eddie Scott said something at that Saturday press conference that keeps echoing. For this sort of crime, it would require something drastic. Drastic. Not just evil, not just rage. Something drastic. Something that broke inside Daricka Moore's mind. You want to know something that'll restore your faith in humanity? This family, The Moore family is standing together, even after everything. Edith Watkins Bradshaw, a cousin, spoke after the court hearing. She said something that most of us couldn't even comprehend. Where there's unity, there's power, and there's love. No matter what, we're family. Even Daricka, he's still our family. He's still a human being. We still gotta love him too. Yeah, you heard that right. Even Daricka, the man accused of killing 6 of their loved ones. They still call him family. They still choose love. Renee Guines McMillian, the cousin who lost multiple family members, started a GoFundMe for Mykylia's mother and surviving siblings. It's raised over $10,000. She told reporters, "Our family will never be the same, but we're going to be stronger because of this." That's not just words. That's survival. That's choosing to hold on to each other when everything else has been ripped away. Right now, Daricka Moore sits in Klay County Jail, no bail, waiting for that mental health evaluation. And while we wait, there are questions that don't have answers yet. Where did the weapons come from? Why did the gun not fire when pressed against the second child's head? What was Moore's relationship with the Bradley brothers? Was there a conflict, or were they just tragically in the wrong place? Why the church? Why that specific sequence of locations? And the biggest question of all, what happened in Daricka Moore's mind on January 9th, 2026? 6 families are burying their loved ones. Glenn, the fisherman who gave the best hugs. Quinten, loyal to the end. Willie Ed, who could make anyone laugh. Mikylia, the 7-year-old dancing queen. Reverend Barry Bradley and his brother Samuel, men of God, taken in a house of worship. Their names deserve to be remembered. Their lives mattered. And maybe, just maybe, when that mental health evaluation comes back, we'll understand a fraction of what caused this nightmare. But understanding doesn't bring them back. Nothing does. What do you think? Could mental illness explain this? Should it? Drop your thoughts below. If this case affected you, hit that like button and share this video. These victims deserve to have their stories told. Subscribe to The Crime Trail for more covering of this case. When that evaluation comes back, when charges get upgraded, when this goes to trial, we'll be here. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there.